This message is just for you. You are good enough. This is the episode for you. How can we make language learning a lifestyle? How can we build a language life for ourselves that immerses all the facets that make up native speaker us in our new language? Now, before I start with this episode, I want to make a quick disclaimer that building your life around your language is 100% not an essential part of language learning. It's one possible path of many. And so if this idea brings you out in cold sweats, I've added 2 videos that I've already made. It doesn't need to be all-consuming, and you don't need to overhaul your life, where we talk about slotting your language learning into the life that you already lead. But if you're even a little bit curious, hang around anyway, because the advice I'm sharing in this episode has been so valuable to me in planning and designing a more intentional life, not just within the context of language acquisition, but in everything I do. And I can't wait to share it with you today. Now, when we talk about making language learning a lifestyle, we do not just mean do what you do now in your studies, but do it all the time. It's not just about increasing your hours or increasing your output. But figuring out what it does mean is a whole journey in itself. And so today I want to give you one potential model that you could use to do just that. And that is Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's model of core happiness. And in his book, Happy Mind, Happy Life, and he also has a fantastic YouTube video about it, which I've attached in the description below, he argues that a happy life, a life of meaning, is one that has 3 essential pillars: alignment, contentment, and control. And so in this video, I'm going to go through those 3 pillars: alignment, contentment, and control, and suggest ways that they could lead us to a language life that we love. And if you're a fan of journaling, I would also love to invite you to look at all of the ways that you could bring these into your language learning. Maybe get a notebook and some paper now, whether you want to make it a lifestyle or not. Okay, let's get started. His first pillar is alignment. And what he means by that is, in order to be happy, the person who you really are on the inside and the person that you're being in the world is the same. That your inner values and your external actions need to match up as closely as possible. And so to figure out how to live in alignment, you first need to know who you are right now and what you stand for. So if you're journaling or if you're thinking, some questions that you could ask yourself are: what are your values? What are the things that really encompass what's important to you? And the answer to that might be people and things in the world, so maybe animals or your family. It might be personality traits like kindness, curiosity, creativity. Could be verbs, painting, gaming, serving the community. Or it might be things that give you a sense of purpose. Your children, the environment, protecting a vulnerable or marginalized community. So if you're mapping out how to make language learning a lifestyle, one starting point could be to get some big paper. This is something I've also done, and create a mind map of you. To think of as many things as you can that represent your values and what gives your personal life meaning, the things that interest you, the things that you care about, the things that are really important to you. And one thing to note here is that these things don't have to be areas of the deepest fascination or expertise or causes that you've dedicated your whole life to. Nobody is gatekeeping any of these things. And it also doesn't need to be deep and heavily detailed. If you're just not there yet, you're going through massive changes, or you're just starting out in the process of discovering who you are, it could just be one word to describe yourself and a couple of things that you like. All this exercise is about creating that piece of paper that says, yeah, right now, this is me. And of course, you can update it as often as you like. And even if you're just learning your language casually, can you bring in more opportunities to study your language and use your language for the things that make you, you? If you're in your room behind your desk doing more and more textbook study, okay, maybe you're living out curiosity or you're embodying your love of learning. But what about your love of nature? What about the fact that right now you're splitting your time between, for example, language learning and activism? And every time you're doing one of those things, you're worrying that you're neglecting the other. Well, you can bring them together. Or if you're finding that you're always dreaming of meeting like-minded people, but most of your studying is alone in your room, what can you do to close those gaps? His next pillar is contentment, the feeling of peace with your life and your decisions, and the state of calmness. So for him, contentment is about intentionally bringing things into your life, even for just 10 or 20 minutes a day, that let you just unplug from the world. He talks about these things as a daily holiday from your life, an opportunity to escape, to reflect, and to just observe and take stock of how things are going. It might be a run. It might be meditation or journaling, painting, walking somewhere green, listening to music that calms you. It might even just be drinking a cup of tea or coffee in peace. And so this is about creating an oasis. It's about a space where your language actually doesn't come. And neither do your screens, and neither do your social media accounts. It's a time when you can check in with yourself and your life, to do the inner work, to make sure that you are actually still living or working towards the life that you want to live according to your values. And you can still do walks with your language, journaling in your language. But this is actually not about your language. It's a daily holiday. It's you time when you're not trying to improve your language. And he also says, and this is really important, that this daily holiday is pressure-free, information-free time that's not being measured in progress, distance, calories, any other metrics you can find. It's not about improving or trying to track improvement. And it might seem odd to designate spaces without your language in a language-oriented lifestyle, but you need that opportunity to reflect and maintain that balance and that perspective that keeps you being you. Because the thing is, who you are and what you need right now are going to evolve over time. And they don't need to be big developmental things. It might just be allowing for a really busy week at work, or a stressful few months while, for example, a family member is ill. It might be adapting your plans for the darker months of the year because you know that your energy levels are going to be lower. And so whatever the circumstances are, you need the space to really see them, to really feel them without numbing, without background noise or videos or other people, because you need to observe those changes happening and make those adjustments as you need them. And Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's third pillar of core happiness is control. And he specifies here that this is not about controlling the world around you or controlling other people, but about the things that you can do on a daily basis that give you a sense of control, regardless of what anyone else is doing or what is going on in the world or what's going on in your life. And so that might be making sure that no matter what else happens in your day, you get 20 minutes in the morning to drink a hot cup of tea before everyone wakes up. It might be bringing in some rules that say things like, I will not study past, for example, 9 p.m. at any point, or I will not study on the weekends because actually I need that time. It still means that all of native speaker you can be immersed, but it also means that you're still allowing for your friends and for your hobbies and for other aspects of curiosity, where actually you just need to be native speaker you for a bit. So how would we bring that into building our language learning lifestyle? Well, it might be about the ways you go about establishing a routine that genuinely suits you. And in language learning, that means even if you have a teacher, even if you have 10 different teachers spread out through the week, first and foremost, you are your own teacher, you are your own advocate, and you are your own greatest mentor. So you are able to say, these are some things that I can do to make my life easier. These are some things that I will never do because I know that they're bad for me. And most of these things that make up a happy life and a meaningful language life, once you've got your internet connection, they don't need to cost any money at all. And they also don't require you to make any huge life changes like quitting your job or moving to the other side of the world. You don't have to do that to live an intentional life that puts your language at the fore and still feels meaningful and still feels like you can be a whole person in your language. All it takes is for you to find opportunities to do as many things as possible to feel like a normal and complete human being in your new language. So if there is one takeaway from this video today, it is this. If you want to make language learning a lifestyle, don't just study more. Figure out what makes you, and then go and do those things in your new language. Your world should feel like it's getting wider, not narrower. And this is about so much more than just growing your language proficiency. Because remember, you want to feel like you're growing as a whole person and that all of you is being nurtured. And before I go, I would love to encourage you again to check out Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's video, which is in the description below. It's about an hour and a quarter long, but it was well worth every minute. And of course, if this video has resonated with you and you think it could help someone else, please send it to them or share it on your social media or like it or leave a comment, because it helps the Language Confidence Project to grow and it helps me to share more language courage. Have a wonderful day and I will see you back here tomorrow.